Life in its infinite dance is always unfolding before us, inviting us to grow, to learn, to be more. Often it does so through tests, those moments that stretch our soul, demanding from us a deeper sense of presence, humility, and understanding. These aren't the tests of judgment, but of awakening, revealing to us our true nature and our readiness for the next stage of the journey. The first sign is that peace finds you where once there was only fear. You no longer resist the uncertainty of life, but embrace it, understanding that within chaos lies the seed of transformation. Where once you might have felt anxiety or fear, now there's a quiet knowing, a trust in the unfolding of events. It's as if life no longer needs to make sense to your mind because your heart understands its flow. Another sign is a heightened sense of clarity. You begin to see the patterns of your experiences from a higher vantage point. What once seemed like random challenges now appear as stepping stones, carefully placed to shape your spirit. Your struggles have carved out a deeper understanding of life's interconnectedness. The threads of the tapestry begin to weave themselves together, and you realize that nothing was ever wasted. In the realm of attachment, you've learned a profound lesson to let go. When the outcomes of life no longer control your emotions, you know you've reached a new state of awareness. You don't push against the current anymore, but rather you allow yourself to float, knowing that where the river takes you is precisely where you are meant to be. This detachment from outcomes doesn't mean you stop caring. Rather, it signifies that you trust the wisdom of the unseen forces guiding you. As you ascend to new levels, you'll notice your heart opens more fully. Compassion begins to flow effortlessly, even toward those who once caused you pain. There's a deep understanding that their actions too were part of the test, perhaps even your own. This is the sign of spiritual maturity, the ability to look at life and the people within it with eyes of love rather than judgment. Finally, you'll know you've passed the test when new doors open effortlessly. These are not random opportunities, but ones that align with your soul's purpose. It's as if the universe is laying out a path before you, one that feels deeply connected to who you truly are. These opportunities are signs of your readiness for the next chapter, where your gifts will be needed and your purpose can be fulfilled in greater ways. As you journey forward, remember this life's tests are not meant to break you, but to awaken you. Each one is a mirror, reflecting the growth of your spirit, the shedding of old layers, and the blossoming of your true self. In the silence of your heart, you'll know when you've passed the test. And with it, you'll step into a higher level of being, one that's more peaceful, more compassionate, and more aligned with the divine rhythm of life. When you find yourself at peace in the midst of uncertainty, it is a profound sign that you've entered a new state of awareness. In the past, you may have wrestled with the unknown, allowing your mind to become entangled in fear, doubt, and the desperate need for control. The idea of not knowing what comes next was unsettling, perhaps even terrifying. But now something has shifted. This peace does not come from external circumstances, nor does it require the world around you to be calm or predictable. Instead, it arises from within as a quiet assurance that you are exactly where you need to be, even when the path ahead is unclear. There's a sense of trust, not in the specifics of how life will unfold, but in the wisdom that guides it. You've begun to understand that life doesn't have to be understood or controlled, it simply needs to be experienced. In this space, you've learned that uncertainty isn't something to avoid, but something to embrace. The mystery of life becomes a companion rather than a threat, and instead of fearing the unknown, you start to see it as an opportunity for growth. The questions no longer haunt you because you no longer demand answers. Instead, you are content with the unfolding of life's chapters, trusting that each one reveals itself at the perfect time. This internal peace is a powerful sign of transformation. It indicates that you are no longer governed by the surface level fluctuations of life, by the highs and lows, the gains and losses. You've tapped into a deeper current, one that flows beneath the waves of daily existence. In this stillness, you find a strength that isn't dependent on what happens outside of you, but is rooted in an unshakable connection to something greater. In the face of uncertainty, your soul stands firm, no longer seeking refuge in rigid plans or predetermined outcomes. Instead, you walk with a sense of ease, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This is not complacency, nor is it indifference. It's the wisdom of surrender, the ability to flow with life rather than resist it. You've reached a place where peace is not dependent on external order, but springs from an internal alignment with the flow of existence. This is the hallmark of someone who has passed the test. You've reached a stage where you can stand in the center of uncertainty and remain unshaken, where the need for control has dissolved into trust, and where you've discovered that peace doesn't come from the absence of chaos, but from the acceptance of it. When you step into a deeper understanding, you begin to see life with new eyes. The challenges and struggles that once seemed random or cruel now reveal themselves as necessary teachers. Each experience, each hardship is no longer viewed as an obstacle, but as part of a greater tapestry woven together with purpose and meaning. It's as though the veil has been lifted and you can see the intricate patterns of growth, learning, and evolution that have always been present, even in the moments when they were obscured by pain or confusion. This understanding is not merely intellectual, it transcends the mind's grasp of events. It is a felt sense, a deep knowing that emerges from the core of your being. You begin to recognize that the very things you once resisted or feared were placed in your path to help you expand, to push you beyond the confines of what you knew, and to elevate your consciousness to a higher level. In this light, you no longer blame life or others for the difficulties you faced. Instead, you acknowledge the wisdom embedded in those experiences, understanding that they were essential for your growth. With this newfound perspective, you realize that life is not happening to you, but for you. The trials and tribulations you encountered were not punishments or random acts of fate. They were invitations for you to become more aware, more compassionate, more resilient. You see now that nothing was ever truly lost and no moment was ever wasted. Every hardship carried a gift, every detour led to a deeper truth, and every disappointment was a stepping stone toward your evolution. This deepened understanding allows you to forgive not just others, but also yourself. You let go of the need to control or to be perfect because you've come to see the beauty in imperfection. The so-called mistakes you've made are now viewed as lessons, each one leading you closer to your true self. You're able to look back on your journey with gratitude, recognizing that even the darkest moments were part of a larger design meant to illuminate the path ahead. In this state of understanding, life becomes less about outcomes and more about the journey itself. The questions that once plagued your mind, why did this happen? What could I have done differently? Fade into the background, replaced by an inner calm that knows every experience has its purpose. You trust the timing of things, the unfolding of events, and the wisdom that guides it all. There's no longer a rush to find answers, no pressure to make sense of everything at once. You've come to realize that clarity arises naturally when the time is right. This deeper awareness marks a shift in your consciousness. You've moved beyond seeing life in fragments, isolated events strung together without rhyme or reason. Now, you perceive the whole, the interconnectedness of all things. You understand that your journey is part of a much larger story, one that spans lifetimes, and that each chapter brings you closer to the essence of who you truly are. This is the gift of deepened understanding, a profound clarity that allows you to live with greater ease, compassion, and purpose. You no longer resist the flow of life, you flow with it, trusting that even in the moments of uncertainty or difficulty, there is always something more to be revealed. As you grow and evolve, one of the most profound shifts you experience is the gradual release of attachment to outcomes. Where once your mind may have been consumed by the need for specific results or particular paths, now there's a deep surrender, a recognition that true peace doesn't come from controlling the future, but from embracing the present moment. You no longer tie your sense of worth or happiness to whether things turn out as you expect them to. Instead, you begin to see life as a flowing river, carrying you along in its natural course. This loss of attachment doesn't mean that you stop setting goals or aspiring for certain things. Rather, it means you've come to understand that while you may take action, the final outcome is something beyond your control. You have discovered the profound truth that holding too tightly to how things should unfold can be the very thing that prevents you from experiencing the fullness of life as it is. By releasing your grip on specific results, you open yourself up to possibilities that are far greater than anything you could have imagined. There is a freedom in this surrender, a lightness that comes from no longer being bound to expectations. You begin to live in the flow of life, trusting that whatever comes your way is exactly what is meant for you at that moment. You move from a place of effort to one of ease, knowing that the universe operates in ways that are far more intricate and wise than the mind can comprehend. When you release your need to control outcomes, you also release the suffering that comes from resistance to what is, to what was, and to what might be. In this state of non-attachment, you realize that your joy and fulfillment do not depend on things going a certain way. You can engage fully in life, pour your heart into your endeavors, and still maintain a sense of inner peace, regardless of how things turn out. Success and failure lose their sharp edges. They no longer define you. Instead, they become simply experiences, each one offering its own lessons, each one a part of the larger mosaic of your life. This shift allows you to move through life with a sense of openness. When you're no longer rigidly focused on a specific outcome, you begin to notice the opportunities and possibilities that arise unexpectedly. You become more flexible, more adaptive. The doors you once thought should open may not, but other, more beautiful ones often do. And because you're not fixated on one particular direction, you're free to walk through those doors with curiosity and trust. The paradox is that in letting go of the need for things to turn out a certain way, you often find that life exceeds your expectations. When you no longer impose your will on the future, you give life the space to unfold in its own perfect way, often bringing you gifts and experiences far richer than those you had initially envisioned. This is the magic of surrender. It creates room for grace, for the unexpected, for the miraculous. Through this process, you come to understand that life's value isn't in the destination, but in the journey itself. You begin to find joy in the act of living, in the moment-to-moment experience rather than in the achievement of specific goals. This realization brings a profound sense of peace because you are no longer waiting for something to happen to feel fulfilled. You are already fulfilled in the simple act of being, of participating in the dance of life without demanding it look a certain way. In losing attachment to outcomes, you gain something far more precious, a sense of inner freedom. You become free to fully experience life without the constant pressure of expectation. Free to embrace whatever comes your way with grace and acceptance. Free to flow with the current, trusting that the river will take you exactly where you need to go. As you grow in awareness and move to deeper levels of understanding, something remarkable happens. Your capacity for compassion and empathy expands in ways you may never have thought possible. Where once you might have viewed the world and others through the lens of judgment, now you find yourself softening, seeing with the eyes of the heart rather than the mind. This shift is a sign of profound inner growth, a recognition that at the core we are all connected and each person's struggles are not so different from your own. Compassion begins to flow effortlessly because you have come to realize that everyone is on a journey, each of us grappling with our own fears, wounds, and hopes. You see that the harsh words or actions of others are often born from pain, not malice. This understanding dissolves the walls of separation that once divided you from others, replacing them with a bridge of empathy. You no longer rush to judgment, because you understand that behind every reaction, behind every mistake or misstep, there is a human being doing their best with what they know and where they are. Your heart opens not just to those you love or who are easy to care for, but even to those who challenge you. It's here that your empathy deepens most profoundly. In the past, you may have recoiled from those who caused you pain, holding grudges or harboring resentment. But now you find yourself looking beyond their actions to see the woundedness within them. You no longer take things as personally because you realize that people's actions are often more about their own inner turmoil than anything to do with you. This newfound compassion doesn't mean you excuse harmful behavior, but it allows you to respond from a place of understanding rather than reaction. You can hold space for someone else's pain without letting it diminish your own light. It's as if you've stepped into a higher realm of awareness where your heart is large enough to encompass the suffering of others without being overwhelmed by it. At the same time, your empathy becomes more refined. You start to notice the subtleties in people's emotions, sensing when someone is struggling even if they haven't said a word. Your intuition grows stronger and you feel more attuned to the invisible currents of emotion that flow between people. This sensitivity deepens your connections as others feel seen and understood in ways that transcend words. Through your own journey, you've come to understand that suffering is a universal experience. This recognition allows you to relate to others with a shared sense of humanity. You realize that the trials you've faced have softened you, making you more receptive to the pain and struggles of those around you. The suffering you endured has opened your heart, allowing you to offer comfort and understanding to those who are going through similar challenges. In this way, your empathy is born not out of pity, but out of a deep, shared knowing of what it means to be human. As your compassion and empathy increase, your relationships also transform. You are no longer driven by ego or the need to be right. Instead, you are present with others, listening deeply, understanding their perspectives without the need to impose your own. This ability to hold space for another person's experience, without judgment or the need to fix them, is a profound gift. It creates a safe, healing environment where true connection can flourish. Moreover, this shift doesn't just affect how you treat others, it extends to how you treat yourself. As your heart opens to the struggles of those around you, you also begin to extend that same compassion to yourself. You forgive yourself for past mistakes, recognizing that you too were acting from a place of hurt or ignorance. You no longer hold yourself to impossible standards, allowing yourself to be imperfect, to grow at your own pace. This self-compassion mirrors the empathy you offer to others, creating a sense of inner peace and acceptance that radiates outward. Ultimately, the expansion of compassion and empathy is a reflection of your own inner transformation. It signals that you are seeing beyond the surface of life, into the deeper layers of connection that bind us all. You begin to realize that at the heart of it all, we are not separate, but part of the same whole. And in that realization, love and understanding flow naturally, both toward others and toward yourself. As you move through life with greater awareness and alignment, something remarkable begins to happen. New opportunities appear, and they feel different from those you may have encountered before. These opportunities aren't merely random chances or the next logical step in a career or life path. They are deeply resonant with who you are becoming. There's a sense of purpose to them, as though life itself is guiding you toward experiences and roles that are in perfect harmony with your evolving self. You begin to notice that these opportunities don't require you to force or manipulate events to go your way. Instead, they unfold naturally, as though they have been waiting for the right moment to present themselves. This is a significant shift from earlier stages of life where perhaps you had to chase after things, push through barriers, and struggle to make things happen. Now, there is a flow, a sense of ease and rightness that accompanies these new possibilities. The alignment with purpose is what makes these opportunities stand out. They aren't just about material gain, recognition, or fulfilling external expectations. Rather, they reflect your soul's deeper calling. When you step into these moments, you feel an inner confirmation, a quiet but powerful sense that this is where you are meant to be. It's as though the universe has been arranging circumstances behind the scenes, orchestrating everything to bring you to this exact point in time. These opportunities often feel expansive, not just in terms of personal success, but in how they allow you to contribute meaningfully to the world around you. There is a sense that you're not just pursuing a path for yourself, but stepping into something larger, something that allows you unique gifts and talents to serve a greater good. This is one of the hallmarks of an opportunity aligned with purpose. It is not just about personal fulfillment, but about how your actions and presence can positively impact others, whether through creativity, service, leadership, or connection. Another key feature of these opportunities is the sense of peace they bring. There is no internal struggle or doubt about whether it's the right path. In fact, you often feel a deep inner knowing, as though all the experiences you've had so far have prepared you for this exact moment. Even if the opportunity comes with challenges or requires you to step out of your comfort zone, there's a feeling of readiness, of being up to the task. You know deep down that this is where your growth lies and you're willing to embrace it fully. It's also important to recognize that these opportunities are often a reflection of the work you've done within yourself. As you release old fears, limiting beliefs, and attachments to outcomes, you create the space for life to offer you something more aligned with who you are now. The inner shifts you've made, whether in healing old wounds, letting go of past identities, or embracing new ways of thinking, are mirrored in the outer world as these opportunities arrive. Life, in its wisdom, matches your inner transformation with external possibilities that reflect your new level of awareness and purpose. These moments also bring with them a sense of trust. You don't feel the need to second guess or overanalyze the path ahead. Instead, you trust that this opportunity has come to you for a reason, and you are ready to step into it fully present and open. This trust comes from the deeper knowing that life is always supporting you, always guiding you toward the experiences and roles that will help you fulfill your unique purpose. There is a quiet confidence that even if you don't know exactly where this path will lead, it is the right one for you. As you move into these opportunities, you'll notice how naturally things begin to align. People, resources, and support show up in ways you may not have anticipated, making the journey feel less like a struggle and more like a dance. The universe seems to conspire to help you along, providing what you need when you need it, reinforcing the sense that you are on the right path. This doesn't mean that challenges disappear entirely. Opportunities aligned with purpose often require you to grow, stretch, and evolve. But these challenges feel meaningful, as if they are part of your soul's expansion rather than obstacles to be overcome. You face them with a sense of inner strength, knowing that they are not roadblocks but stepping stones to becoming more fully yourself. Ultimately, these opportunities feel like a homecoming. They are not about achieving something outside of yourself, but about stepping more fully into who you already are. When you encounter them, there's a sense of harmony and flow, as if life is revealing itself in perfect timing, aligning with your inner purpose and guiding you toward the next phase of your journey. This is when you know you've passed through the tests of life and are stepping into a new level of being, one where purpose and opportunity move hand in hand. There comes a point in your journey when you feel an unmistakable sense of renewal, a fresh energy that sweeps through your life, breathing new vitality into everything you do. It's as if you've been carrying the weight of old patterns, old stories, and old ways of being for so long, and suddenly those burdens begin to dissolve. This renewal is not just a fleeting feeling of motivation or excitement, it's a deep inner transformation that touches every aspect of your existence. You begin to notice that things that once drained your energy no longer have the same power over you. Habits, relationships, or ways of thinking that once held you back start to fall away naturally, without the need for force or struggle. It's as though your inner landscape has been cleared, making space for something new to emerge. This is a sign that you've entered a new chapter, one where you are more in tune with your authentic self, more aligned with your true purpose. This sense of renewal is often accompanied by a feeling of lightness, as if a heavy load has been lifted from your shoulders. You find yourself moving through life with greater ease, no longer weighed down by past regrets or future anxieties. The things that once caused you stress or worry now seem to fade into the background, replaced by a sense of calm and clarity. You're no longer driven by the need to prove yourself, to meet external expectations, or to live up to anyone else's standards. Instead, you feel free to simply be fully present in each moment, fully engaged in the flow of life. With this renewal comes a sense of possibility. You begin to see the world with fresh eyes, noticing opportunities and potentials that you may have overlooked before. The future, which may have once seemed uncertain or daunting, now feels open and full of promise. This doesn't mean that you have all the answers or that the path ahead is entirely clear, but you trust that whatever comes your way, you have the strength, wisdom, and resilience to handle it. There's a quiet confidence that accompanies this sense of renewal, a deep knowing that life is unfolding as it should, and you are exactly where you need to be. Renewal also brings with it a profound connection to your inner self. You feel more in tune with your intuition, more aware of the subtle guidance that comes from within. It's as though a deeper part of you has awakened, offering insights and wisdom that were previously hidden. You begin to trust this inner voice more, allowing it to guide your decisions and actions. This trust in yourself leads to a greater sense of empowerment as you realize that you don't need to rely on external validation or approval. You are enough, just as you are, and you have everything you need within you. As you embrace this renewal, you may also notice a shift in your relationships. The people who are aligned with your new energy naturally gravitate toward you, while those who are no longer in resonance with your growth may gently drift away. This is a natural part of the process as you release old attachments and step into new dynamics that support your evolution. Your connections become more authentic, more fulfilling, and more reflective of the person you are becoming. In this state of renewal, creativity often flourishes. You feel inspired to explore new ideas, try new things, and express yourself in ways that feel more authentic and true to your spirit. Whether it's through art, work, relationships, or personal projects, you find yourself infused with a sense of purpose and enthusiasm. This creative energy is not forced, it flows naturally from the sense of freedom and openness that renewal brings. You're no longer bound by limiting beliefs or fears of failure. Instead, you approach life with a spirit of curiosity and adventure, willing to take risks and explore new possibilities. There's also a deep sense of gratitude that accompanies this renewal. You begin to appreciate the journey you've been on, recognizing that every experience, both the highs and the lows, has brought you to this moment. You see how the challenges you faced were necessary for your growth, and you're grateful for the lessons they taught you. This gratitude opens your heart even more, allowing you to experience life with a sense of wonder and appreciation for the present moment. Ultimately, this sense of renewal is not about becoming someone new, but about returning to who you truly are. It's about shedding the layers of conditioning, fear, and doubt that have accumulated over time and rediscovering the essence of your being. It's a homecoming, a return to your natural state of wholeness, where you are free to live in alignment with your true self. And in this state, you find a sense of peace and fulfillment that is not dependent on external circumstances, but that arises from within, constant, unshakable, and deeply rooted in the core of your being. As you grow in awareness and align more deeply with your true purpose, you begin to notice something extraordinary. The universe starts speaking to you in subtle, yet undeniable ways. You encounter synchronicities, those seemingly random coincidences that carry a deeper meaning. Signs appear not as arbitrary occurrences, but as gentle nudges from life itself, pointing you in the direction of your highest path. These moments are not mere accidents. They are affirmations that you are in tune with a greater flow, a rhythm of existence that transcends everyday logic. Synchronicities feel like small miracles. You might think of a person, and they suddenly call or appear in your life. You might be contemplating a significant decision, and the answer seems to reveal itself through a conversation, a book, or even a song you hear at the perfect moment. These are not coincidences in the traditional sense. They are messages, guides sent to remind you that you are connected to something larger, that your life is woven into the fabric of the universe in ways that defy simple explanation. The beauty of synchronicities is that they often appear when you least expect them, and yet they arrive precisely when you need them most. They serve as confirmations, letting you know that you are on the right path. These signs are often subtle, requiring you to be present and attuned to notice them. But once you do, their impact is profound. It's as if life is whispering, "Keep going. You're exactly where you need to be." This recognition fills you with a sense of awe and wonder, reminding you that you are not alone in your journey. Signs and synchronicities often come in clusters, creating a feeling of flow where everything seems to align effortlessly. The right people, opportunities, and circumstances converge in ways that seem almost orchestrated by some invisible force. This is not about magical thinking or expecting life to be perfect, but about recognizing that there is an underlying intelligence at work, something that guides you when you are open, present, and aligned with your true self. These moments can serve as powerful affirmations, especially when you are at a crossroads or feeling uncertain about your next steps. Sometimes you may be struggling with doubt, wondering if you're making the right decisions or moving in the right direction. And just when the uncertainty feels overwhelming, a synchronicity appears, perhaps in the form of a conversation that offers clarity or an unexpected opportunity that aligns perfectly with your intentions. These signs feel like a divine wink, a gentle reminder that there is a plan unfolding, even when you can't see the full picture. Over time, as you become more attuned to these synchronicities, you start to trust them more deeply. They become guideposts, not only affirming your choices, but also helping you navigate through life with greater ease and trust. You begin to realize that life is not something you must control or force. Instead, it is something you participate in, co-creating with the universe as you remain open to the signs that show up along the way. This shift allows you to move through life with more grace, knowing that you don't have to have all the answers. Sometimes, the next step is revealed not through logic, but through a synchronistic event or a sign that nudges you forward. The more you pay attention, the more you realize that these signs are everywhere. They show up in nature, in numbers, in the patterns of life that seem to repeat in meaningful ways. Perhaps you keep seeing a particular animal or a certain number sequence follows you around, and over time these recurring themes start to feel significant. They are, in their own way, a language one that speaks to your intuition rather than your intellect. When you're aligned with your true path, the universe speaks through these signs, and your role is simply to listen and respond. As these synchronicities unfold, you begin to feel more connected to the flow of life. There's a sense of harmony that emerges when you trust the signs and allow them to guide you. You stop forcing things to happen and instead allow them to unfold naturally. This doesn't mean you become passive, but rather you learn to balance action with surrender. You take inspired steps, knowing that the universe will meet you halfway, often in ways that are far more magical and aligned than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. At its core, this experience of synchronicity and signs is about alignment, being in tune with the flow of life, your higher self, and the universe at large. The more you cultivate presence, trust, and openness, the more frequently these signs appear, confirming that you are moving in the direction of your highest potential. They remind you that you are a part of something much bigger than yourself, and that life, in its infinite wisdom, is always guiding you toward the experiences and opportunities that are meant for you. This sense of connection to something greater brings a deep sense of peace and reassurance. You no longer feel as though you are navigating life alone or making decisions in a vacuum. Instead, you trust that the universe is actively participating in your journey, sending you the signs, synchronicities, and guidance you need at every step. This trust allows you to move forward with greater confidence, knowing that even when you can't see the full path ahead, the signs will illuminate the way when the time is right. In the midst of all the movement, the changes and the challenges life brings, there comes a moment when you find yourself standing still, not out of hesitation or uncertainty, but out of a deep inner quiet. This stillness is not passive, it is powerful, full of potential, and brimming with energy. It's the kind of stillness that comes from being deeply rooted in who you are, grounded in the present moment, and trusting in the flow of life around you. In this space, you are no longer swept away by the turbulence of circumstances or the noise of the world. Instead, you embody a calm strength that radiates from within. Empowered stillness is different from the silence of indecision or fear. It's not about retreating from life, but about standing firmly in your center, observing the flow of events without being pulled in every direction by them. There's a sense of clarity that comes with this stillness, and knowing that you don't always need to act or react immediately. You realize that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to pause, breathe, and let life unfold around you. This stillness brings with it a profound sense of peace. It's the peace of no longer needing to control every outcome or force things to happen on your timeline. You've come to trust in the natural rhythms of life, understanding that everything has its own season and pace. When you're in this space of empowered stillness, you are not rushed by time or pressured by external expectations. You know that the answers, the opportunities, and the next steps will reveal themselves when they are meant to, and until then you are content to simply be. From this place of stillness, your actions become more deliberate, more intentional. You no longer act out of fear, anxiety, or impatience. Instead, you move from a place of inner wisdom, guided by a deep knowing rather than external forces. This empowers you to make decisions that are truly aligned with your purpose, rather than being swayed by fleeting emotions or the demands of others. In stillness, you can hear the quiet voice of your intuition more clearly, and you trust it to guide you with calm assurance. Empowered stillness is not static, it's dynamic in its potential. It's a space of waiting, but not of inactivity. It's like the quiet moment before a wave rises, gathering its strength before it crashes onto the shore. In this stillness, you are preparing, gathering your own energy, allowing life to move through you without resistance. When the time comes to act, you do so with the full force of your being, aligned with your deepest truth. But until that moment, you honor the quiet, knowing that it is a crucial part of your journey. This stillness also deepens your connection to the present moment. When you are not constantly rushing toward the future or fixated on the past, you can fully experience the richness of now. You begin to notice the subtle beauty in everyday moments, the way the light filters through the trees, the sound of the wind, the rhythm of your own breath. In this state, life becomes more vivid, more alive, because you are fully present to it. And from this presence comes power, the power to respond to life rather than react. In empowered stillness, you also become more resilient. You are no longer easily shaken by the ups and downs of life because you are anchored in something deeper. The storms may rage around you, but within you remain calm, unshaken. This doesn't mean you don't feel the challenges or hardships that come your way, but you approach them with a sense of inner fortitude, knowing that you have the strength to weather them. You are like the eye of the storm, calm, centered, and in control, even as the winds of change blow around you. There is also a sense of liberation that comes from this stillness. You free yourself from the constant need to do, to achieve, to prove. Instead, you allow yourself to simply be, trusting that who you are in this moment is enough. This doesn't mean you stop growing or striving, but your actions come from a place of fullness rather than lack. You're no longer driven by the need to fill some void within yourself, because you found peace in the stillness of your own being. This stillness empowers you to engage with life on your own terms. You no longer feel the need to rush or conform to the pace set by others. You move with a quiet confidence, knowing that your path is unfolding exactly as it should. You trust in the timing of your own life, understanding that there is no need to compare your journey to anyone else's. In this empowered stillness, you are deeply connected to your own rhythm, your own flow, and you move through life with a sense of grace and ease. Ultimately, empowered stillness is the place where true power resides. It is the source from which all authentic action arises, the space where your highest wisdom lives. In this stillness, you remember that you are not defined by what you do, but by who you are. You realize that sometimes the most profound growth happens in the quiet, in the moments between action, when you are simply present, aware, and fully alive. From this place, you are able to move forward with clarity, purpose, and strength, knowing that you are always exactly where you are meant to be. As you journey through life, signs of growth and transformation subtly reveal themselves. Internal peace in the face of uncertainty, a deepened understanding of life's flow, and the shedding of attachment signal that you've passed through life's trials and entered a new level of being. With each step, your heart opens wider, filled with greater compassion and empathy, while opportunities aligned with your purpose naturally unfold before you. The universe speaks to you through synchronicities, guiding your way, while a renewed sense of vitality infuses your soul, and empowered stillness becomes your strength. This path is not marked by grand gestures or external accomplishments, but by an inner shift, a quiet knowing that you are in tune with life itself. You no longer seek external validation, for you understand that the true test lies within. Your journey has become one of alignment, trust, and surrender as you allow life's rhythms to carry you forward. Each sigh, each moment of stillness is a reminder that you are exactly where you are meant to be, guided by a wisdom far greater than yourself. As you continue on this path, you find that life is not something to be conquered, but something to be embraced, experienced, and lived with an open heart and a quiet mind.